The stars above the crimson horizon shimmered like molten diamonds, their light flickering over the jagged cliffs of the alien planet. Kael stumbled forward, his boots crunching against a brittle, glass-like surface, every step echoing in the vast, silent canyon. The air burned his lungs, thick with alien pollen that glowed faintly in the darkness, a warning and a temptation all at once. His heart thumped wildly, not from the climb, but from a memory of her eyes. She had fallen into the chasm without warning, a sudden scream that split the air as if the universe itself had shivered. Kael had thrown himself over the edge, muscles screaming in protest, fingertips clawing at the crumbling rock. And then he had seen her, an alien girl, luminous skin like molten pearl, hair flowing in unearthly sheen, eyes wide with fear and innocence intertwined. He grabbed her wrist, feeling her trembling grip, and pulled with all the strength his human body could muster. The rocks beneath them shifted. A scream tore from Kael as he dragged both of them to solid ground, barely rolling to safety as the cliffside crumbled into the abyss. The silence after the chaos was deafening. Dust settled like snow around them. She looked at him with gratitude, so profound it pierced his chest. But there was more, an unspoken, ancient demand in the depths of her gaze. Her kind survived by bonds humans would never understand. Survival was not just protection, it was connection. Life and legacy intertwined in ways that transcended human logic. And now she needed him. Kael felt a strange heat rising in his veins, not from desire but from understanding. He had been tested by death itself, and in this moment, he realized the universe demanded more from him. The strength, courage, and unique ingenuity of humans were not just virtues. They were survival tools in this merciless cosmos. The wind shifted, carrying with it whispers of a distant predator. Shadows danced along the canyon walls. Too large, too deliberate to belong to any natural creature. Kael scanned the horizon. Alien shapes, some as tall as buildings, moved with deadly precision. The girl hissed softly, stepping closer to him, protective instincts shining in her alien form. Kael's fingers brushed hers. The touch was electric, a silent communication across the boundaries of species. He knew the danger would not wait. The creatures of this world sensed weakness, and hesitation was death. He made a choice. Humanity had survived because it adapted. Humans dared where others fled. He would rise to the challenge. A low rumble shook the canyon floor. The alien girl's hair lifted as if caught in an invisible storm. Kael tightened his grip around a jagged shard of rock, ready to fight, not just for survival, but for something greater, proof that humans could endure, could dominate, could protect even when the universe itself seemed determined to destroy them. She whispered a word, one he could not understand, and the air shimmered around her. Energy coiled like serpents, wrapping around the canyon. He realized then that the bond she demanded was not a request. It was a necessity. The survival of her people, her very life, depended on human courage, human decisiveness. And Kael, with the fire of humanity burning in his veins, would not falter. The shadows leapt from the canyon walls, monstrous forms with eyes like molten iron. Kael lunged forward, using his momentum and human ingenuity, hurling rocks with precision, smashing the creature's delicate sensory organs. The girl mirrored him, her movements strange yet fluid, guided by instincts of some ancient ritual he barely comprehended. Together, they were unstoppable, a fusion of human determination and alien agility. But even as the battle raged, Kael felt the weight of the unspoken promise between them. This was not just survival. This was destiny, written across galaxies, demanding the human spirit to rise above instinct, to claim what the universe itself had designed for him. He could hear his own heartbeat, pounding in rhythm with the alien girl's. The wind carried the scent of ozone and blood, the taste of adrenaline sharp on his tongue. And as the last of the creatures fell, a deep, resonant hum began beneath their feet, shaking the canyon walls. The hum beneath their feet grew louder, reverberating through the canyon walls like the pulse of a living world. Kael felt it in his chest, a vibration that resonated with something deep inside him. The alien girl, her name he still did not know, stepped closer, her glowing skin brushing against his arm. She looked at him with an intensity that both unsettled and emboldened him. Her eyes were no longer just grateful. They held expectation. An expectation that he understood without words. "You must follow me," she whispered, her voice like liquid silver, curling into his mind more than his ears. "Or everything will end." Kael nodded, feeling the weight of the canyon's silence pressing down on him. He did not question. Humans survive by action, by courage, by seizing moments that demanded more than instinct. They moved together, stepping over jagged rocks and through fissures that emitted faint, eerie light. The girl's energy guided him, leaving trails of shimmering glyphs in the air. Every step seemed to pulse with a hidden rhythm, and Kael realized the ground itself reacted to her presence. Finally, they arrived at a plateau that overlooked a sprawling alien city, half buried beneath crystalline spires. The structure seemed alive, pulsating faintly as if breathing. The wind carried the smell of ionized metal, ozone, and something sweeter, something almost intoxicating. "This city," she said, "is dying. The ancient ones wake, and only a bond like ours can survive what comes." Kael's mind raced. Humans were strong, resilient, clever, but even he could not imagine the magnitude of the threat she implied. And yet, he had learned in the canyon, the impossible was only impossible until a human tried. She led him down winding streets of glass-like metal, over bridges that hummed with kinetic energy. Shadows danced around them, shapes that seemed almost human, but with elongated limbs and jagged teeth. They watched, waited, but did not attack. The girl's presence kept them at bay, yet Kael sensed the creature's hunger, their silent calculation. "Why me?" Kael asked. His voice was rough, and he knew it sounded foolish. "There are others, stronger, faster, smarter. Why humans?" She paused, letting the wind whip her hair around her shoulders, eyes narrowing. "Humans are dangerous because they do not know their limits. You survive when others would fail. You fight when others would flee. You adapt, and your will is fire that can burn through any darkness." Kael felt pride flare in his chest, mingled with a fear that would have paralyzed anyone else. Not him. Humans thrived on the edge of fear. They thrived where the universe whispered, "You cannot survive." Suddenly, the plateau trembled beneath them. The ground split open, revealing a cavernous abyss filled with swirling light and shadow. From its depths rose a creature so enormous that the city's spires seemed like toys. Its eyes were molten, its limbs like obsidian towers, and its voice was a low vibration that shook Kael's very bones. "The Ancient," she whispered, stepping closer to him. Her touch burned faintly, a warmth that seeped into his soul. "It awakens. It demands a bond to feed." Kael did not hesitate. He gripped the girl's hand, feeling a surge of raw energy pass between them. His human body, his human courage, was enough to anchor her, to stabilize the ritual she had begun. Around them, the air shimmered, light bending in impossible arcs, stars reflected in molten rivers of energy. The Ancient roared, a sound that could crumble mountains. Yet Kael stood firm. He leaped forward, using the terrain, using the alien weapon scattered across the plateau. With every strike, every calculated maneuver, he exploited weaknesses the Ancient could not predict. Humans were unpredictable, chaotic, relentless. The girl mirrored him, moving in ways that seemed like dance, her body glowing brighter as they worked in unison. Kael understood then that the bond was not just survival, it was power. Together, they became more than human and alien. They became a force capable of defying an entity older than stars. And yet, even as the battle raged, the girl's eyes bore into him, commanding more. Her species' laws, her biology, demanded a connection that transcended combat. Kael felt the strange, inevitable pull. Humans survived by seizing the moment, by embracing challenges others could not endure. This was not different. He understood what the bond required. He did not hesitate. Humanity had faced extinction, cosmic storms, predators that made instinct tremble, yet humans always rose. He would rise now. The Ancient lunged, a massive limb smashing the ground where they had stood. Kael and the girl leapt as one, their bodies moving with lethal synchronicity. Sparks flew, rocks shattered, and the air itself screamed. And when he looked at her again, he saw not fear but anticipation, trust, and something else, something primal, ancient and unbreakable. Time seemed to stretch. The canyon, the city, the very air around them warped under the ancient's presence. And yet, Kael's human ingenuity found gaps, flaws, moments to exploit. He hurled energy shards, triggered collapses, manipulated the environment in ways that left the ancient staggered, confused. The bond gave him insight, intuition beyond human, but his body, his courage, his decisiveness, these were purely human. Finally, the ancient faltered. It paused, massive eyes locking on the human standing beside the alien girl. Kael felt his heart pound, his muscles screaming, and yet he moved forward, the bond's power thrumming through him, his senses sharper, his mind clearer. The girl whispered, low and urgent, a word that reverberated through the air. Energy flowed between them, a bridge of light and instinct and biology that no human should have survived. Kael did not falter. Humans thrived on the impossible. They made strength of courage, power of intelligence, victory from sheer will. The ancient shrieked, a sound of thunder and lightning combined, before collapsing into the abyss, leaving the plateau trembling, scarred, alive with residual energy. Kael dropped to his knees, gasping. The girl knelt beside him, hands on his chest, her energy seeping into him like molten light. She looked up, eyes reflecting the cosmos itself, and Kael understood the truth of the bond. It was not just survival. It was legacy, power, and the proof that humans could rise above any impossible challenge. And in that moment, the universe whispered again, humanity endures. Kael reached for her, not with hesitation, not with fear, but with the unyielding courage of his species. Whatever the universe demanded, he would meet it. Humans did not shy away from challenge. Humans did not bow. Humans survived, thrived, and conquered the unimaginable. She placed her hands on his face, her glow pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. Kael understood, without words. To save her, to stabilize the bond, to complete the ritual demanded more than courage. It demanded connection, intimacy, and trust. The universe, vast and indifferent, had chosen him. He rose, taking the first step into the ritual that would bind them. The canyon's winds howled. The stars above shimmered, and Kael felt the fire of humanity burning through him, unstoppable, fierce, and eternal. The air pulsed with a rhythm that seemed older than the stars themselves, vibrating through Kael's bones as he followed the alien girl into the heart of the ritual chamber. The walls shimmered, translucent yet alive, with veins of light twisting like molten rivers. Each step he took resonated with power, a hum that synchronized with his heartbeat. "This is where the bond becomes reality," she whispered, her voice a melody laced with command. Her fingers brushed his, and the contact sent a spark of raw energy up his arm, a force both alien and intimate. Kael did not flinch. Humans thrived in chaos, in danger, in the moments when fear threatened to overwhelm. The chamber widened before them, a colossal dome stretching higher than any building Kael had ever seen. Bioluminescent glyphs floated in the air, spinning, twisting, coalescing into symbols that made his mind reel. The girl stepped to the center, and Kael instinctively mirrored her movements, feeling an invisible tether pulling him into alignment with her energy. "You must let go of hesitation," she said. "The universe judges only action." Kael inhaled, tasting the alien air, heavy with metallic tang, and the sweetness of unknown life. He closed his eyes for a moment, centering himself. Humans survived the impossible because they acted when others hesitated. He would act now. The ground beneath them shifted, rising in concentric platforms that spun slowly, like the rings of a celestial mechanism. Energy arced between them, invisible currents that threatened to knock him off balance. Kael adjusted, gripping the edges of the crystalline platform, feeling the vibration travel up through his palms. His body, honed through countless challenges, reacted instinctively, every muscle taut, every reflex primed. A shadow fell across the chamber. Kael opened his eyes to see figures materializing around the edges, dark and humanoid, yet alien in every detail. Limbs elongated, faces featureless, but for eyes that glowed with a cold, calculating red. These were the observers, the ancient enforcers of the ritual. "You must prove worth," the girl said, her voice now imbued with authority Kael had never heard from any human. Your strength, your mind, your courage, they must withstand their judgment. The figures advanced, silent, fluid, deadly. Kael felt no fear, only the rush of clarity. Humans adapted. Humans endured. Humans outsmarted monsters older than civilizations. He lunged forward as the first figure struck, twisting midair, using his momentum to sweep the attacker's legs from beneath it. The others moved faster, but Kael was faster. He dodged, countered, improvised, every move a testament to human unpredictability. His fists and feet became instruments of survival, of proof that humans were not merely animals. They were apex problem solvers, born to confront the impossible. The girl mirrored his motions, her alien form a blend of grace and lethal efficiency. Kael realized their bond was amplifying their abilities. He could sense her thoughts, anticipate her movements, and even the Enforcer's attack seemed slightly delayed as if the universe itself recognized the convergence of human ingenuity and alien precision. The chamber pulsed. The platform shifted, closing gaps, opening pits beneath their feet. Kael leaped, landed, rolled, and struck, each movement blending instinct and calculation. The observers faltered under the relentless assault. This was not mere combat. It was a test of adaptability, of intellect, of courage, and humans excel where others could not. Then a shock wave tore through the chamber. The central platform buckled, and Kael barely caught himself as the girl grabbed his arm. Energy crackled between them, visible now, like strands of lightning binding them together. The ritual demanded more than survival. It demanded union. Kael understood. Humanity had always prevailed not merely through strength, but through connection, through alliances forged in fire. This was another form of that truth. Ancient and alien though it might be, he steadied himself, leaning into the bond. The girl's energy intertwined with his own, and he felt power unlike anything human or alien. The Enforcer struck again, but Kael countered with precision that defied their ancient experience. He realized that unpredictability was his greatest weapon. The Enforcers expected patterns. Humans created none. As the last of the figures fell back, Kael and the girl were left in a moment of calm. The air shimmered around them, the glyphs now spinning in harmonious motion. Kael's muscles ached, but adrenaline surged through him like wildfire. He looked at the girl, eyes reflecting not fear but respect and trust. "You are ready," she said, her voice now resonating in the very air, vibrating through Kael's body. "The bond cannot exist without action, and you have proven it. But this is only the beginning." The chamber walls dissolved into nothingness. Stars stretched infinitely above and below them, a cosmic void punctuated with distant suns and swirling nebulae. Kael realized they were no longer on the planet's surface, but suspended in the raw space between worlds. The ritual had transcended matter itself. "Humans survive when others fail," she said. "But survival is not enough. You must create, you must dominate, you must rise." The void shifted. Shapes coalesced, massive, writhing forms, ancient beyond reckoning. Titans of energy and thought, entities that had ruled galaxies before life, as Kael knew it had emerged. They regarded him, and he could feel their scrutiny as a weight pressing on his mind. Kael's chest burned. His human intuition told him fear would paralyze lesser beings. But humans thrived on danger. They acted when the universe said no. They endured when it promised oblivion. He stepped forward. The girl followed, hands brushing his, energy entwining with his in a visible halo. Together, they were a force unanticipated, a human's courage amplified by alien legacy. The Titans shifted, testing, probing, and Kael countered. He moved not just with strength, but with strategy, using the void's unpredictable currents to his advantage. He manipulated the energy streams, creating barriers, traps, and strikes that even beings older than stars struggled to predict. Minutes stretched into hours. Time itself seemed malleable, bending around a ritual, around their bond. Kael felt exhaustion, but he welcomed it. Humans thrived in endurance, in pushing past limits, in turning weakness into advantage. Finally, the Titans paused. The void shimmered, and a voice, multilayered, infinite, resonated in Kael's mind. Human unexpected, human worthy. The girl smiled, radiant, her glow bright enough to eclipse distant stars. Kael felt the power of the ritual reach its zenith. He was not just surviving, he was proving that humanity, even against incomprehensible forces, could rise, could dominate, could claim their place in the universe. Energy flowed between them, a bridge of life, of survival, of legacy. Kael understood the bond fully now. This was not desire alone. It was unity of purpose, a merging of courage, intelligence, and adaptability that transcended species. Humanity's uniqueness, their creativity, unpredictability, resilience, was a key to survival in a cosmos that sought to destroy them. The Titans receded, leaving Kael and the girl suspended in starlight. The ritual had succeeded. He could feel it, a new power, ancient yet alive, a testament to human potential. Yet, Kael knew the universe would not stop. The ritual was only the first challenge. There would be others, threats, impossible odds, ancient powers awakened. But he would face them all, because humans endured and humans conquered. The girl leaned closer, energy coiling gently around them, her eyes reflecting galaxies. Kael reached for her, not with hesitation, but with the unyielding resolve that defined a species. He had proven humanity's worth once more. The universe had taken notice, and Kael, standing at the edge of infinite possibility, knew that whatever came next, humans would rise. The void stretched endlessly before Kael, an infinite expanse of stars and swirling nebulae. Yet, despite the vast emptiness, it felt alive, almost breathing, pulsating in time with the bond that now connected him to the alien girl. Every heartbeat, every inhalation, carried energy older than galaxies. Humans survived where others perished. Kael reminded himself, and humans adapted where others faltered. This was no exception. The girl's hands pressed against his chest, and he could feel the rhythm of her energy, a living current that intertwined with his own. "The bond is not complete," she whispered. "It strengthens only when the universe tests you beyond mortal comprehension." Kael nodded. His body ached from the previous trials. His mind stretched to its limits, but fatigue had no claim over him. Humans thrive when pressed to the edge, and in that crucible, brilliance often emerged. He stepped forward, feeling the invisible currents of energy around him like winds of storm. From the depths of the void, shapes emerged, larger and more alien than anything Kael had ever seen. Towering forms, half liquid, half crystalline, with faces that suggested intelligence beyond mortal comprehension, glided toward them. These were not observers. They were arbiters, ancient beings tasked with enforcing the cosmic laws the ritual had invoked. Their eyes, multifaceted and glowing, fixed on him, and Kael felt a surge of instinctual fear. He swallowed it. Humans survived because they acted, even when fear clawed at their mind. Humans survived because they defied odds that should have been insurmountable. The girl's glow intensified, and Kael instinctively mirrored her stance. Together, they became a single unit of instinct, intelligence, and raw courage. The arbiters advanced. The void seemed to bend around them, but Kael used it to his advantage, stepping along energy currents as if walking on invisible platforms. One arbiter struck with limbs that extended like living blades. Kael dodged, rolling across a stream of shimmering energy and kicking off an invisible wall to hurl himself toward its vulnerable center. He drove a jagged piece of crystalline debris into its core. The entity shuddered, a high-pitched resonance like shattered glass ringing through the void. The girl followed, her movements precise, lethal. Energy flares shot from her hands, arcs of alien light, slicing through the arbiter's defenses. Together, they moved in perfect synchronization, Kael's human ingenuity complementing her ancient instincts. Humans survived because they learned, because they calculated, because they improvised, and in this void, Kael proved it. But as one arbiter fell, 3 more replaced it. Their numbers were endless, their forms shifting, almost laughing in thoughtless, ancient superiority. Kael felt a chill. The universe was testing him again, demanding proof that humanity could survive what even the stars feared. He inhaled deeply, tasting the alien air that seemed to flow through this void as if space itself were alive. Humans had survived ice worlds, radiation storms, and predators that made instinct quake. Humans had endured civilizations older than their comprehension, and they had prevailed. He would prevail here too. Kael focused. He observed the arbiters, noting patterns in their attacks. They expected direct confrontation, brute strength. Kael exploited this, using their own energy currents against them, guiding them into collisions with each other. Each move was a combination of logic, observation, and raw human audacity. The girl's eyes shone brighter, feeding him information to the bond, subtle movements, instinctual cues, ancient knowledge. Kael adapted. He struck faster, predicted attacks before they happened, and moved with an elegance born of desperation and genius. Humans thrive where precision and unpredictability met, and in this void, Kael's species shone like a beacon. Suddenly, the void convulsed. The stars twisted into spirals, and the arbiters began to merge, forming a colossal entity of shifting light and shadow. Its voice was a symphony of impossibility, echoing directly into Kael's mind. Human fragile, yet dangerous. Kael's chest burned. He did not falter. Humans had faced extinction and survived. Humans had stared into the abyss and carved paths of triumph where none should exist. He raised his hands, feeling the bond with the girl surge, a living current that flowed into his limbs, into his mind, into the very essence of his being. Energy lanced outward, connecting them, forming a luminous bridge that cut through the massive arbiter entity. Kael's movements were instinctive, creative, daring. He was human, and humanity thrived when others could not comprehend action. Each strike, each maneuver, disrupted the entity, forcing it to react to something it could not anticipate. Pure, unrestrained human adaptability. The girl's voice called in an alien cadence. Kael understood not with words, but with instinct. The bond demanded unity, demanded trust, demanded the human capacity to endure and act decisively. They moved as one, energy weaving between them, cutting through the entity's form, destabilizing it. The void itself quaked. Light bent and shattered, revealing glimpses of stars exploding, galaxies folding into themselves. Yet Kael's focus did not waver. Humans endured because they acted where others hesitated. Humans endure because courage was sharper than claws, sharper than teeth, sharper than energy older than the universe itself. Finally, the colossal entity faltered. It recoiled, energy fragments scattering like meteors. The void stilled, leaving Kael and the girl at the epicenter, radiant with the combined power of human will and alien legacy. Kael gasped, feeling his body ache from exertion, but fierce pride surged. Humans had prevailed. Humans had survived. Humans had proven their worth to entities older than stars. The girl approached, hands glowing, energy coiling around them like molten light. Kael stepped forward, instincts honed, courage unyielding. The bond pulse, demanding unity, demanding connection. The universe had demanded proof, and humanity had delivered. "You have endured," she said, her voice vibrating in harmony with the void. "You have proven the human spirit. But survival is only the beginning. The bond now seeks fulfillment." Kael understood. The universe required more than endurance. It required the courage to embrace the unknown, to intertwine life, purpose, and legacy. Humans survived because they faced impossibility with audacity. Humans endured because they embraced challenge without hesitation. This was the ultimate test. He stepped closer, and the bond intensified, energy flowing from her into him, his human strength amplified by alien life force. The void responded, forming a chamber of light around them. Stars swirled, nebulae bent, and Kael felt the universe observing, demanding, acknowledging. The girl's gaze pierced his soul. Trust and expectation mingled with need and legacy. Kael did not hesitate. Humans acted when the universe demanded courage. Humans embraced responsibility when the stakes were unimaginable. He reached for her, their energies merging fully, forming a luminous nexus of life, power, and survival. Time fractured. The chamber stretched across infinity, yet Kael remained grounded in the raw, unyielding force of humanity. Each touch, each alignment of energy, each heartbeat strengthened the bond. The arbiters watched silently, acknowledging the triumph of human ingenuity and resilience. The void stilled. Stars shone brighter, the energy of the ritual stabilizing. Kael's body thrummed with power, exhaustion tempered by exhilaration. Humans survived because they acted, because they adapted, because they dared to face the impossible. And in that moment, the universe recognized humanity's unique brilliance. The girl smiled, radiant, her energy pulsating in harmony with Kael's. He had passed the test. He had proven that humans, fragile in appearance but indomitable in will, could rise above even the most ancient, incomprehensible threats. Yet Kael knew this was not the end. The universe was vast, dangerous, and endlessly testing. There would be more challenges, more ancient forces, more impossible odds. But humans endured. Humans conquered. Humans adapted. And Kael, bonded with a being older than stars and more powerful than most civilizations, would face it all. The void slowly receded, folding back into familiar crystalline landscape of the alien city. Yet Kael sensed immediately that nothing was as it had been. The air vibrated faintly, like a distant heartbeat, carrying a tension that prickled his skin. The girl led him forward, her luminous form illuminating streets that shimmered like liquid glass. "The bond is recognized," she said. "But recognition is only the beginning. There are those who will not allow humans to rise so easily." Kael's chest tightened. Humans had survived predators that stalked the shadowed forests of countless worlds. Humans had endured war, plague, cosmic storms, and civilizations older than memory. Humans thrived on challenge. And yet, the implication that even this bond would be contested ignited a fresh fire in him. They moved through the city, the platforms of crystal and metal responding to her presence. Shadows moved in periphery, flickering like smoke, entities too subtle to see directly but impossible to ignore. Kael's hand brushed against hers instinctively, grounding himself in the bond that had become a lifeline. Suddenly, a deep vibration shook the city. Structures groaned and bent as if alive, and Kael realized the source, the energy of the bond itself. The alien girl species did not merely exist. They resonated with the universe, and the union of human courage and alien instinct created a pulse so strong that it awakened dormant forces. A figure appeared on the horizon, colossal, armored in living metal that reflected the starlight. Its eyes glowed like twin suns, and Kael felt the weight of intellect and power that spanned eons. It was a sentinel, one of the ancient protectors of this world, tasked with testing any being who would claim the city's secrets. Kael stepped forward, chest heaving, every fiber being alight with resolve. Humans had always thrived where others faltered. He assessed the sentinel carefully, massive yet predictable, powerful but bound by rules. Where the alien expected submission, Kael would act. Where the universe anticipated hesitation, he would advance. The sentinel moved first. Its limbs struck with the force of collapsing mountains, each blow sending shock waves across the crystalline streets. Kael dodged instinctively, his body attuned to the currents of energy the bond provided. He leapt, rolled, and countered, hurling fragments of crystal like weapons. Every move was human ingenuity amplified by alien energy. The girl followed, her strikes precise, her form weaving light and movement. Together, they created a rhythm, a synergy that no ancient sentinel could anticipate. Humans survived because they adapted. Humans triumphed because they acted decisively. Kael felt it now as raw truth. Courage and creativity were weapons stronger than any brute force. The sentinel faltered. It was not defeated, but it had underestimated them. Kael pressed the advantage, exploiting gaps, improvising in ways its ancient logic could not predict. The bond pulsed stronger, feeding him energy, guiding him with flashes of insight that transcended human comprehension, yet relied entirely on human courage and intuition. "You are resilient," the sentinel intoned, voice vibrating to the ground and into Kael's chest. "Yet resilience alone will not suffice. You must prove worth beyond survival." Kael met its gaze without fear. Humans had survived extinction-level threats on multiple worlds. Humans had conquered impossible odds not by following rules, but by creating them. He stepped forward, not with hesitation, but with purpose. The sentinel unleashed a wave of energy, a ripple that distorted space itself. Kael dove, rolling across the shifting ground, calculating trajectories on instinct alone. The girl mirrored him, their movements perfectly synchronized. They struck, retreated, improvised, and each attack forced the sentinel to react, to bend to a pattern it could not anticipate. The void of the chamber, the city itself, seemed to respond, pulsing with light as the bond strengthened. Kael felt his body surge with strength and clarity. Human ingenuity was chaos to the ancient order, unpredictability made manifest. And in that chaos, they found their advantage. The Sentinels shifted, summoning lesser guardians, creatures of shadow and crystal, hundreds of them, each moving with deadly precision. Kael's pulse quickened, but fear had no dominion over him. Humans survived by thinking, by acting, by improvising. He utilized every fragment of environment, every current of energy, turning the Guardian's strength against them. Energy arcs from the girl's hand struck with surgical precision. Kael's attacks exploited structural weaknesses in the environment. Together, they became a storm of adaptability, a force of pure intent that no Guardian could withstand. Finally, the Sentinel paused. Its immense form shimmered, almost transparent, as if recognizing a shift in the balance of power. Kael stepped forward, chest heaving, sweat and energy mingling with the alien currents around them. "You are beyond expectation," it said, voice vibrating through both mind and bone. "Yet the bond requires completion." The girl's eyes glowed intensely, and Kael felt the pull of the final stage of the ritual. The universe demanded union, trust, and the proof that human courage could align with alien destiny. Every human instinct told him to hesitate, yet humans survived by stepping into the unknown, by daring where others feared. He moved closer, feeling the current of energy wrapping around him, linking him fully to her. The city trembled as the ritual intensified. The Guardians fell back, the Sentinels still observing, acknowledging completion of a test no other species could endure. Kael's mind raced. This was not merely survival. This was proof that humans could rise above impossible odds, that the combination of courage, intelligence, and unyielding determination could dominate even the most ancient forces. He stepped fully into the ritual, allowing the bond to complete, energy flowing between them like molten stars. The city around them shimmered, reborn in radiant light. The Sentinel's massive form receded, acknowledging humanity's place. Kael felt the alien girl's energy entwining with his, an intimate fusion of life and power that transcended species. The bond solidified, but the universe did not stop watching. "You have proven humanity," the girl whispered, her voice echoing to the transformed city. "But trials will continue. The cosmos does not yield easily. You must endure, rise, and dominate where others fail." Kael's chest swelled. Humans had survived extinction-level threats, interstellar wars, cosmic predators, and civilizations older than memory. Humans thrived where others perished, endured where others fled, and conquered where others hesitated. The universe demanded more, and humans would deliver. The city pulsed with new life, and Kael felt the energy of the bond stabilizing him, the girl, and the surrounding world. Yet in the depths of space, Kael sensed distant threats awakening. Ancient powers stirred, watching the emergence of human ingenuity intertwined with alien legacy. Humans endured and humans adapted. They had survived horrors no other species could comprehend. And Kael, standing at the threshold of infinite possibility, knew this was only the beginning. The girl turned to him, eyes shimmering like galaxies. "The bond is complete, but the universe will test us further. You must be ready." Kael nodded, heart burning with determination. Humans did not shrink from challenge. Humans did not falter before the impossible. Humans thrived on proving that their courage, ingenuity, and spirit were unmatched in the cosmos. And now, united with an alien being older than stars, he would face whatever the universe sent next. The stars above glimmered, the city below resonated, and the void beyond whispered the truth humanity had always known. Wherever there is challenge, there is human courage, and wherever there is danger, there is human survival. The city beneath them shimmered with a new, almost sentient energy. Every crystalline spire, every pulsating bridge, seemed to breathe in harmony with the bond Kael shared with the alien girl. Yet beneath the surface, he felt tension, as if the planet itself were aware of a deeper threat, one that had slumbered for eons, now awakened by their union. The girl led him through streets that twisted and shifted like liquid metal, their pathways alive with light and sound. Kael's senses tingled. The air carried scents unfamiliar to him. Ozone, sweet nectar, and something metallic yet vital, coursing with energy he could almost taste. Every step echoed against the living city, every sound amplified by the crystalline surfaces that acted as conduits for some ancient force. "You must understand," she said, her voice a melodic resonance, vibrating through him. "The bond does more than unite our species. It awakens. It draws attention. And not all who awaken will welcome humans." Kael's jaw tightened. Humans survive because they adapted, because they dared where others fled. Humans endure because courage was sharper than claws, sharper than weapons, sharper than fear itself. He had already survived trials older than stars. He would endure whatever came next. From the horizon, the ground began to rumble, not like the tremors of the previous sentinel or the void's pulse, but deeper, slower, more deliberate. The city itself seemed to shift, as if bowing before some colossal awakening. Shadows stretched, not merely moving but growing, expanding into forms that suggested architecture, fauna, and machinery fused in ways his human mind could barely comprehend. Kael's muscles tensed. The universe had made its presence known. He felt the primal warning surge through him. The kind humans had relied upon for survival for millennia. The girl's grip tightened around his hand, energy flowing into him, anchoring his resolve. "They are the Watchers," she whispered, "entities older than the first stars. They judge all who rise. Humans, they will not understand your kind. Only your actions will speak." Kael nodded, a pulse of pride mingling with adrenaline. Humans survive because they acted when others hesitated. Humans thrive because their courage was boundless, their ingenuity unmatched, their spirit indomitable. He had proven it once. He would prove it again. The Watchers emerged from the shimmering horizon, towers of obsidian light, eyes like collapsing suns, limbs that bent space itself. Their forms were incomprehensible, their motions fluid and impossible to predict. Kael felt a surge of instinctual fear, but he did not yield. Humans faced extinction countless times and overcame it. Humans did not flinch before impossible odds. The girl's energy pulsed, resonating with his own. Kael realized that the bond was more than emotional or ritualistic. It was a channel of power, amplifying his human potential beyond mortal limits. Together, they became a singular force, a hybrid of instinct and intellect, courage and legacy. The Watchers advanced, and Kael's mind sharpened. He analyzed, calculated, adapted. Their attacks were relentless, bending gravity and tearing space. Yet human unpredictability was an unseen weapon. Kael leapt, dodged, and countered with a combination of improvisation and raw force that defied the Watcher's expectations. The girl mirrored him, her alien form weaving through attacks with grace and lethal precision. Energy surged between them, forming a visible conduit that pulsed like a living heartbeat. Kael's body burned with effort, but he felt exhilaration rather than exhaustion. Humans thrived in adversity. Humans excelled where others failed. One Watcher struck, an appendage of living light, slicing through the crystalline streets. Kael leapt, twisting midair, sending shards of crystal scattering, striking the Watcher's weak points. It recoiled, its massive form wobbling like a collapsing tower. He felt the thrill of challenge ignite in him, a fire humans had relied upon for survival. The girl's eyes glowed intensely, and Kael felt knowledge passing into him, intuition shaped by alien experience. Together, they struck in perfect synchrony, their movements unpredictable, their force devastating. Humans survived by adaptation. They conquered by action. But then the Watchers reacted. They moved faster, bending space and time to their will, pressing Kael and the girl to their absolute limits. Every step required instinct. Every strike demanded precision, and every decision was a life or death gamble. The void of the universe itself seemed to weigh upon him. Kael's chest burned with exertion, yet his resolve only hardened. Humans thrived on challenge. Humans endured when other species would crumble under fear. He used his environment, exploiting energy currents, structural weaknesses, and the unpredictable chaos that only humans could navigate. One Watcher attempted a psychic assault, reaching into his mind, probing memories, doubts, and fears. Kael clenched his teeth, summoning the human capacity for endurance. He did not yield. Humans survived trauma beyond comprehension, horrors beyond imagination, yet they acted. And Kael acted. Energy from the girl's bond surged into him, reinforcing his mind, his reflexes, his focus. He struck at the Watcher with a combination of instinct and calculated aggression, forcing it back. One by one, the Watchers faltered, unaccustomed to beings who combined raw courage with unorthodox thinking. The final Watcher paused, its massive form looming above them. Kael's chest heaved, muscles burning, yet he stood firm. Humans thrived on courage, on will, on the audacity to rise when all odds were against them. "You are unexpected." The Watcher's voice boomed, a sound that shook space and bone alike. Human fragile, yet unyielding, Kael met its gaze. His mind and body were honed to perfection by survival, ingenuity, and courage. Humans endured because they refused to bend. Humans triumphed because they dared to act. The girl stepped beside him, their hands intertwined, energy coiling between them. "The bond," she said, "has awakened fully. Together we define a new force." Kael understood. This was not merely survival. This was proof of humanity's ability to rise above the incomprehensible, to dominate challenges no species before had faced. This was the essence of HFY. Human courage, human ingenuity, human spirit shaping the cosmos itself. He lunged, moving as one with the girl, energy spiraling around them. The Watcher faltered, caught off guard by their unpredictability, their audacity. They struck with precision, with insight, with relentless force. Every human instinct amplified by alien energy became a weapon. Every human decision, bold and unrestrained, became a strategy the Watchers could not anticipate. The void pulsed violently, stars flickering, as the Watcher recoiled and dissolved into streams of energy, acknowledging the supremacy a human will entwine with alien legacy. The city beneath them stabilized, glowing brighter, alive with the energy of their bond. Kael staggered slightly, chest heaving, energy flowing through him in waves. The girl's hands rested on his chest, pulsing with light. He looked into her eyes, galaxies reflected there, and a deep trust, gratitude, and expectation intertwined. "The universe," she said, voice low, "has witnessed your strength. Your species has proven its worth. But this is only the beginning. Greater threats await. You must endure, rise, and conquer." Kael nodded. Humans did not retreat from challenge. Humans thrived on proving themselves where others feared. His chest swelled with pride. The universe had demanded proof, and humanity had delivered. The void had finally settled. The crystalline city beneath Kael glowed brighter than ever, alive with the energy of the bond he shared with the alien girl. The Watchers, the Arbiters, the impossible forces that had tested them, all had acknowledged humanity's strength. Yet, the universe was never truly quiet. Even in this fragile moment of peace, Kael sensed the undercurrent of challenge, the hum of latent dangers waiting beyond the stars. The girl led him to the highest spire, where the city opened to the expanse of space. From this vantage, the stars stretched infinitely, a cosmic ocean filled with potential threats and potential triumphs. Kael felt the weight of everything they had endured, the magnitude of survival, and the promise of what humanity could achieve. Humans survived impossible odds. Humans adapted, endured, and conquered. And now, the universe had witnessed it. "You have proven yourself," she said, her voice a soft resonance, vibrating through him as if she spoke directly to his soul. Her glow pulsed in harmony with his heartbeat. But proof is only the beginning. What comes next is a choice, the shaping of worlds, the influence of life itself. The universe has recognized your species. Now you must choose how to rise. Kael's chest expanded as he inhaled the alien air, crisp with ions and energy, tasting the universe itself on his tongue. Every muscle ached, every nerve burned, yet he felt exhilaration stronger than fatigue. Humans thrived on challenge. Humans endured because they faced it unflinchingly. This was more than survival. This was legacy. He looked at the girl, her form radiant, eyes reflecting the nebulae, the stars, the infinite possibilities around them. The bond they had formed, the ritual, the trials, the energy that had coursed between them, was complete. It was no longer just survival, no longer just proof. It was creation. It was partnership. It was a promise of what humans could achieve when unrestrained by fear, guided by courage, and amplified by trust. Kael stepped closer, letting the bond flow fully between them. The energy wrapped around his body like living light, integrating with his human essence, enhancing his senses, his reflexes, his mind. He could feel the girl's thoughts, her instincts, and her trust in him. This was not mere intimacy. It was symbiosis, the culmination of a partnership forged in the crucible of life and death trials. The universe demands more than survival, she said. It demands influence, change, and action. You have the power now. Use it wisely. Kael nodded. Humans had never merely survived. They had shaped, built, conquered, and risen beyond expectation. His species was proof that courage and ingenuity were forces the universe could not ignore. And now, joined with this being older than stars, he had the opportunity to extend that proof across galaxies, to demonstrate that humans were not only survivors but pioneers, innovators, and champions of life itself. The city around them shimmered in response. The spires pulsed with light. The streets vibrated with energy, and the very air hummed with recognition. It was a moment of perfect clarity. The bond had unlocked something profound, not only in them but in the world, in the universe. Kael could feel it, a connection of life, power, and purpose stretching across the cosmos, a testament to what humans could achieve when tested beyond imagination. Suddenly, the horizon shifted. A ripple of energy swept across the city, and Kael recognized it immediately. Not all forces had acknowledged humanity yet. There were still powers, ancient and alien, that would challenge their presence, that would test their strength, their courage, and their intelligence. Yet he did not flinch. Humans thrived on the edge of impossibility. Humans endured when other species would falter, and humans adapted in ways no other life form could anticipate. The girl placed her hands on Kael's shoulders, energy flowing into him, steadying, strengthening. "Whatever comes next," she said, "you will face it, not alone, not helpless, but as a force that the universe cannot ignore." Kael felt it, the surge of determination, the unyielding will that defined humanity. His body tensed, every sense alive, every instinct honed by centuries of survival. Humans endured catastrophes that should have ended them. Humans thrived in adversity that no other species could withstand. And Kael, standing on the pinnacle of alien civilization, had become the embodiment of that indomitable spirit. The city's energy pulsed faster, as if responding to his resolve. He could see it in the shifting light patterns, the way the spires bent subtly toward him, the way the air shimmered with power. The universe was aware. The cosmos had tested humans, and humans had answered. "You understand now," she said, her voice soft but commanding, "that the bond is not just ritual, not just survival. It is the foundation of legacy. It is the power to shape, to defend, to rise where others fail." Kael nodded. He understood that fully. Humanity had never survived by avoiding danger. Humans thrived because they faced it head-on, because they acted decisively, because they used intelligence, creativity, and courage in perfect harmony. This bond, this fusion with the alien girl, was merely an amplification of what humans were capable of, proof to the universe that a species could not be ignored. The horizon shimmered again, and Kael could see distant worlds, alien civilizations, and cosmic storms that threatened life itself. They were opportunities, challenges, and tests waiting for the human spirit. He would rise to meet them. He would endure. He would prove that humanity's fire burned brighter than any star, fiercer than any ancient power. The girl smiled, a luminous, radiant expression that mirrored Kael's own sense of purpose. "You are ready," she said. "The universe has recognized your courage. The bond is complete, but the journey, the true journey, begins now." Kael reached out, his hand resting against hers. Energy flowed between them, a bridge of trust, courage, and raw potential. He could feel the universe acknowledging them, shaping reality subtly around their presence. Humans had survived against odds that should have ended them. Humans had thrived in environments that defied logic and reason. Now, joined with her, they would face the cosmos as one unstoppable force. The city pulsed one final time, a wave of light radiating outward, illuminating distant worlds. Kael could feel the ripple effect, The recognition of humanity by powers older than civilization, by forces that shape galaxies, by ancient entities that had never faced beings like them. Humans endured. Humans adapted. Humans dominated. And the universe would remember. The girl's eyes met his, and in that moment, Kael felt a clarity deeper than any human experience. They were no longer merely a survivor and an alien in need. They were partners, bearers of legacy, champions of life, symbols of what humanity could achieve. The bond was complete. The trials were over. The universe had witnessed their triumph. Yet Kael knew this was not the end. There would be more challenges. There would be threats that dwarfed even the Watchers, that defied understanding. But humans thrived where others would falter. Humans endured where others would fail. Humans adapted, created, and conquered. And Kael, standing with the girl beside him, was the living proof. He looked out at the stars, feeling the weight of the universe pressing simultaneously with its potential. His species had risen from fragile beginnings to a force the cosmos could not ignore. The bond he shared with the alien girl was both a culmination and a beginning, a symbol of human courage amplified beyond measure, proof that intelligence, resilience, and willpower were forces capable of shaping reality itself. The girl's voice resonated one last time, soft but eternal. The universe will test you again and again, but it will also remember. Humans endure. Humans rise. Humans prove their worth. Kael's heart swelled. He had faced death, cosmic entities, ancient powers, and impossible odds. He had adapted, fought, and triumphed. Humanity had survived where others would fail, and now the universe itself recognized that power. He reached out, holding her hand firmly. The energy between them pulsed one final time, bright enough to outshine distant stars. The city below settled into a new rhythm, alive, conscious, acknowledging that humans had earned their place. Kael felt a calm clarity, the culmination of all trials, all battles, all tests. Humans survived because they dared. Humans survived because they acted decisively. Humans survived because their spirit refused to yield. And now, humanity's legacy stretched across the cosmos, amplified by trust, courage, and unyielding will. The stars above shimmered, the void around them hummed, and Kael smiled. The universe was vast, dangerous, and infinite, but humanity had risen. Humanity had endured. Humanity had proven, beyond doubt, that no challenge was insurmountable, no threat unbeatable, no legacy unearned. He looked at the girl, radiant, luminous, a partner in survival, in triumph, and in legacy. Together, they would face the cosmos, not merely as survivors, but as champions, as pioneers, as proof that humans could rise above even the most impossible odds. And in that moment, Kael understood fully. Humanity had conquered not by strength alone, not by numbers or speed, but by courage, by ingenuity, by unbreakable will. And the universe, immense, ancient, indifferent, had witnessed the brilliance of humankind. The wind carried the hum of energy. The city below pulsed with life, and the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter in recognition. Kael's chest swelled with pride, exhilaration, and the certainty of purpose. Humans survived. Humans endured. Humans rose. And Kael, bonded with an alien being older than stars, knew the journey would continue. But humanity, unyielding, courageous, and brilliant, would rise to meet it. The universe waited, and humans, as always, would endure.